Let's try this again. Don't fall on me, don't fall on me. Ah. All right. No. Y'all, I'm a hot mess right now. I am sweating. We've had some technical difficulties. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Are we in? Hi, everyone. Hey! Oh my God, I'm so sorry for anybody that had headphones in. I just totally like blew out your eardrums. I am so sorry. I'm so glad.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Paige. How are you?
Good. Happy Women's Week. It was on Monday.
Women's Month.
Forever.
Women's Lifetime.
Why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So glad. This is awesome.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I'm kind of country living. I got myself a man, and I got potato Wi-Fi out here, so it's really slow. And I made him like turn off everything else so that we could do this. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that I'm coming in clear. You
look perfect.
Thanks. I did my hair today.
I'm also real authentic. I'm in my van, in place, but it's working. I haven't showered in, so feeling really good.
So oh my God, you look fantastic.
You do too. I'm glad to be here with you.
Oh, me too. All right. If I'm looking down, it's because I got our little agenda open. And yeah, well, I guess we should just say welcome, everybody. We're so stoked to have y'all here. Yeah, Paige and I are just gonna kind of wing it, but it's gonna be really fun. I love lives because they feel really authentic conversations. You have to think on the fly, be on the spot, and be like, this is what I think. It also can be kind of nerve-wracking. So if I go off the rocker a little bit, please be patient.
I have a feeling go really fast because we have a lot to talk about, and I think if we were hanging out in person, we would be having the best time ever. So hopefully we get to the point.
Yeah, it's like two chatterboxes,
I know, exactly. I looked up on the International Women's Day website, and I love kind of their statement, and I think it perfectly embodies. I want to read it. It says, International Women's Day is a time to reflect on progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination by ordinary who have played an extraordinary role in of their country. And to me, I haven't met you in person, but just watching your platform, like, you are calling for change, you're celebrating the progress made, and like you play an extraordinary role in your community. And I love that. So that's why we're here. International Women's
Day. Stop, girl, you got me. You out here hyping me up. I'm so stoked. That was so beautiful.
But I just so admire the way that you first of all put out all your content in such an entertaining way. It's so fun to watch, but challenging us. You're like, we got progress to make, like, come a long way, things have happened, but there's so much more that needs to be done. So I would love to hear, sort of just to start off, like, how did you get into climbing? What do you love about it? And like,
oh my God,
let's just jump right in.
Oh, hell yeah. I love this page. Also, low-key, it's like a little like what's that, compliment circle moment, because you're a motherfucking professional climber.
Oh.
And that's amazing. So we're definitely, there's gonna be a lot of this. Everybody join in. But yeah, so my name is Claassen, for anybody that doesn't know me. The Nature Chola on the gram, hit me up. And I got into climbing because, so I was in Girl Scouts when I was growing up. Long story short, I had this godmother who was like the kindest woman ever. and she was a Girl Scout leader, and she was also like upper middle class. She was rich. And she saw me and my little sister and my older sister. My dad was a field worker, and he was working at these rich people's home building a avocado orchard, and tending for the land. And he used to bring us on weekends or when we didn't have school, and we would pick green beans or like help out with a lot of the field work that was going on. And this woman would drive by and see these two little brown girls picking green beans, and she's like, "Oh, I would love to get your girls into Girl Scouts." And we're like, "What's that?" Sure. Anyway, long story short, that was the first time I went climbing, was because my Girl Scout leader organized a climbing trip. And she brought guides out, and we went climbing locally. And I remember thinking, I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome. I want to do more of this." But I didn't climb for the next like 10, 15 years. It was a while. Yeah. And then I went climbing because I was part of like a little urban youth program that took me outdoors. And I was like, "Oh, heck yeah." Then I climbed for another like 10 years. And then finally, when I had a little bit more autonomy over like my money and my choices, there was a gym that opened up in my town, which was very, very rare. It was actually one of the first nonprofit gyms, which now closed down. And I began working for them, and I got really into the climbing scene. And now I have a love-hate relationship with climbing. Sometimes I'm really into it.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that your life is almost just so geared around your passion is amazing. You're living in a van because your crags are like right outside. That's freaking awesome.
It is awesome. Like my story has so much privilege involved because I grew up in this family where like my parents paid for me to be on the youth team, and there were more girls than little boys. And a lot of my women, and so I had this like really insulated bubble of what climbing was and who my mentors and role models were. And from growing up, like it's obvious that women were, like they're getting done, and trying hard and like pushing the limits. And so it wasn't until later in life, I had to kind of rethink and change my perspective. Oh, this is normal. Like the world that isn't what everyone else experiences. And so it's definitely been a learning. I still have so much to go, but just to know that like where I came has so much privilege in like the world I see, and even within professional climbing. I think I'm often I don't know what the right word is, like from a lot of that, like a lot of what women out there climbing at the crags. Because normally when I go to the cliff, over the last years, almost every single day there's been the cliff and women climbing harder than men. And so it's awesome that exists, but that's not the norm.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah.
And so I think it's awesome to talk to climbers from different backgrounds in different areas and just learn about like larger collective experience. And there's not a collective, right? Like it's everyone's.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you touched on that. Like, I mean, obviously the word privilege is a little hot right now. We're all definitely paying attention to the social justice issues that are going on right now. But you said something super important about growing up in almost that outdoor recreation culture already, because we talk about barriers to access all the time. We're like, yo, you need some shoes, you need a climbing gym membership, a chalk bag, right? But get outside. But oftentimes, like, we don't dig deeper into knowing that, like, hey, you know what? Generations upon generations upon generations, I'm the first formal climber in my family. Like, my mom never got to climb. My dad never got to climb, right? I am the first one in my family that has the privilege of time to be able to invest into recreational sports. And I know I'm not alone, right? We have over 1 million people in the US who have a similar experience to me. So I love that like privilege. And then we're diving deeper into like, wow, this is a generational thing. And how do we start breaking these barriers to access, not just from like the gear perspective, the money, the sponsorship? It's like, how do we create systemic change to like, to allow everybody to have access, and not just access, but that ability to thrive? Because I know people of color are amazing climbers, and it's not because we don't want to, it's not because we don't have the drive and determination, it's because we haven't been given the opportunity to truly thrive, right? And I think that opportunity definitely starts when you're young. And I know that my kids, when I decide to have kids, will definitely be able to have that. So,
Yes.
I don't know. I love it.
You posted something that really, and it made me think we have to own our, bring back for the craft. Don't just conform to what's expected of you in history. Like, you want to wear makeup, you want to wear earrings. My thing is, I really like wearing perfume.
Yes.
Like, in maybe the outdoor industry, that's seen as like stupid, not belonging. Like, but whatever makes me feel, I feel confident today. I'm gonna go out there and just like have a blast and be myself, and not be able to compare or compare to other people. I think the mistake that a lot of us make climbing, but in life, is like we're always comparing to someone else. And I don't know if I'm with that than men. I think, I'm not sure, but it definitely is something that I've been trying on, is like own my own identity. I don't need to compare myself to what someone else is wearing, what's project, all of those. I just gotta be myself out there, and
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you're, and I can see it through the screen right now, just like owning it. I like to wear perfume. I'm like, ooh, what kind of perfume you use? let a girl know.
Quite a while. I was like, I want to feel confident on this Instagram live, and
yeah. Good. Oh my gosh, me too. I got my earrings on. I did my hair. I'm like, I'm showing up looking like a snack. But yeah, that stuff is so true. Like we've been ingrained to, first thing that I'm going to be honest, has come to mind sometimes when I look at somebody really hot in the outdoors. I'm like, oh, I bet she doesn't even climb hard. And it's taken so much work to take that and be like, no, like that is literally the patriarchy at work. And that is me upholding the patriarchy, being like, oh, women aren't. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like,
right. But then like, I don't know. I think of a lot of my friends climb that, I really admire to, and they, whether it's like doing your hair in the morning or your makeup, or, I don't know, not wearing the typical outdoor industry outfit. Like, you don't have to have some specific outfit that makes you belong outside. It's like your style and rocks out there. You just have to be time, right? Like there's not climbing. It's just be comfortable.
yeah.
And I think sometimes, we're just always trying to belong. And sometimes we lose ourselves in that process.
Absolutely. And like, I'm going to say it straight up. I definitely bought a puffy once I saw everybody else have puffies in the outdoors. So I was like, I need one. I want to look cool. I want that Patagucci. But I think that like, as we all begin to show up just like authentically, whether that is wearing the absolute most expensive gear or like, shopping at Walmart, I think that we're creating that space for all of us to belong and be like, yeah, I can show up. And, and I always say I show up to the crag in my lowrider because I have a little Scion XB. And if you know anything about those cars, their clearance is like this.
Perfect.
So, I show up bumping my banda, and this platform, Nature Chola, actually started from a climbing trip because I was wearing this flannel, not Eddie Bauer back then, but all my flannels now, hashtag Eddie Bauer sponsored. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
But I was wearing this flannel and I did the top button because I was really cold. I was getting towards the top of my climb, and I normally climb with my earrings on. And I remember I had this little bandana that was also in my hair, and my climbing partner looked at me and said, wow, you look so much like a chola. And for anybody that doesn't know what the word chola means, it's a really common word in the hood. It references female Latinx gangsters or like hood, and it oftentimes has been associated with a negative connotation with like ghetto and POC, immigrant, all that, right? And I remember having that moment as like I'm looking out and I'm like in all my climbing gear. I'm like, why can't both exist? Why can't a chola who is hood as fuck and dope also be a badass climber who just did her, first multi-pitch? Like,
yes.
why can't those two things exist? And yeah, and so Nature Chola came from that. Was that like moment where somebody said, you look like a chola, and I was like, oh, yeah, I do. And yeah, I'm from Santa Maria, and yeah, I don't have my puffy yet, but I can still be a badass climber, and I don't have to lose my identity to be out here.
Yes. So rocking whatever styles you that help you feel like powered at the cliff, or do you feel like it almost helps you climb better?
A study by me, said study done by me, has shown that climbing in hoops increases your climbing ability by 30%.
Love it.
Climbing a perfume increases your ability by climbing better by another 30%.
Yes. I feel like I'm like, I look hot today. I feel good about myself. I'm going to climb better, because you like internalize that confidence and then it shows up in performance. And I don't know, it's taken a long time to, like, you don't, it feels weird just things like that, and now you're just like, no, I want to look good and climb super well, and those can go together.
Yeah, and I think when people criticize you for whatever it is that you choose to latch onto, whether that is being super femme or super tomboy or whatever it is, right? It says more about them and their internalized narrative of what an outdoor person is supposed to look like, instead about you, right? Like, you're rad, you're doing your thing, you're enjoying the outdoors, you're not hurting anybody when you wear your makeup or your earrings. And so I think for all those haters, I'm just like, I'm sorry you don't look like a snack and you haven't found that place yet to allow yourself that freedom. But once you do, I'll be so happy because I'm be waving at you and being like, you look good too.
Yes. I saw a group of pictures at the boulders yesterday. Like, each one had their own super unique style that, like, this would not have been 10 years ago, or when I got, you had to look the part, and I love that changing. Again, we still have a ways, but we're getting there slowly.
Absolutely. And I think that, everybody on this live, you, me, I think most 90% of the people in the outdoor industry right now, I think we need to realize that we are history in the making, right? This is the first time that women have had so much freedom, obviously. And like, obviously we're going to say it again, there's so much work. It's not going to, I'm not going to see the feminist future that I'd like to see in my lifetime. But everything that I do is contributing to the future that I want to see. I want to see women not be restricted. I want to see policy enacted by women being able to make choices over their own bodies. And so, yeah, I think that this is so powerful because you are history right now. I am history right now. And when we show up as our like full authentic selves, whether it's the crag or the trail, or wherever it is, work, we're contributing to this future that one day will hopefully reflect all of our equitable, beautiful dreams.
Yes. And it's a challenge too. It's like, you know, every day representing history and other women and the possibility for the future. It is a responsibility to set an example for not only younger generation, current generation, all in this, we're all learning, we're all trying to figure it out. If we had it figured out, like, it'd be better. But we're get there and to be able to go out and represent our, and, I don't know, just kind of understand the importance of out there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I know it seems so simple and so almost like tried to say, just get outside, right? But there's so much importance and significance to people going outside authentically. And I don't think we celebrate those small moments enough. I mean, just today, I was having this conversation with my partner about how I was having these thoughts in the shower about how I have never been featured in this one prominent magazine for outdoor recreation. And I'm like, I'm a motherfucking nonprofit founder. I did that when I was 24. I am a trail runner, hiker, stand-up paddleboarder, mountain biker, right? I'm constantly throwing myself into my work and trying to break down these barriers that seem way bigger than me. And they still won't see me. And I'm like, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so done with these standards that I am not valid, or I'm not an important woman of color, or I'm not a change maker unless I, you know, climb Everest. And I think that's so important for just everyday people who get outside, who watch us on our platforms, who are on this live, to say, hey, you know what? When I step outside, that's fucking important. Not because I'm freaking climbing Everest and, you know, every single time that somebody gets outside, that matters.
Yes.
And
that you're going out for you. Like, I think often, maybe I'll just speak for myself. Sometimes, some days I go out, I'm not doing it for me. Like, doing it because I'm supposed to do, whether it's for myself, like social media, like doing something to impress people on social media. Like, it's a reality. Sometimes we feel that, and those days aren't as good as the days I got goals, I'm going out, and like, I'm gonna make it happen for me, rather than, oh, I'm supposed to boxes and, you know, try and get myself into this magazine. If they're not seeing you, like, that is their problem, and you go out there and be yourself and out, and they will see you.
Yo, we about to start our own magazine. We about to feature everybody who hasn't gotten featured like me.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Yo, I got some people that I've been following on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I found this one. I'm gonna give a shout out. Actually, I should, oh, damn, I don't remember the name. I'll post it on my Instagram. He is an Asian hiker, through hiker, and I believe he's the first recorded Asian man to do the AT. And I believe he's now planning to do the PCT. Go check out my Instagram. I'll post him, or if somebody knows what I'm talking about, post him there. But people like that, where I'm like, why do we have to meet these unattainable standards when, I'm just going to say it, white men in the industry get a whole film made about them for climbing one mountain without acknowledging the privilege of time, the privilege of financial security, the privilege of support. Like,
yeah,
it is baffling to me, but it's also so motivating, because I'm like, you know what? We're not going to play in this game anymore. We outside of it. You can hit me up if you want, but Like we doing our own thing. And I think that's so cool because I feel like so many women are now starting to operate outside of the system and be like, oh, you know, you're going to treat me this way, or you're not going to acknowledge my presence, my importance. You know what? I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to start my own organization. I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to, you know, go climbing on my own, find a bunch of women to climb with, things like that. Because I used to have only guy climbing partners. And I was like, mainly I was like, yo, you know what? I'm going to get my skills, get that bread, get that. I'm just kidding. Not that last part. Right.
That's the experience, like from transitioning to having mostly male partners to finding women to climb with and push you. How did that change things for you?
I mean, I hate to say this because shout out to all my guy partners who were super patient with me, but climbing with women to me is the best climbing experience. It's just so much fun. Like, I mean, for the most part, I feel like I'm unashamedly myself, but there's a confidence that comes from having an all-girl crew versus being, you know, with your guy climbing partners. Because when I'm with my girl crew, I'm like, oh, we own this. Oh, we here. Oh, I don't care.
Or like, there's more going on, more jokes, everyone's laughing. Like,
yeah, it's super cool. It's super carefree. And I think that there's this unspoken bond between climbing women and just women in the outdoors, of like solidarity with each other, right? The like the showing up in our femininity and also being like super strong, and that dynamic characters that we're showing without necessarily saying anything. I don't know, I'm getting off track, but what about you?
Well, that's what I love about climbing. Like, I feel like in other sports, you sort of have to team with someone who is at a similar, like, I'm not a surfer, but I'm pretty sure when you go out surfing, like, you're going to an area that is, the waves are like a certain, so you gotta find friends to go with who are capable of that. And in climbing, you can go to a cliff and there's grades from beginner to some of the hardest in the world, and so that experience together. And I have so much to learn from everyone and so I was kind of, you know, who inspires me, you know, and really it's the women that I climb with, because I have so much to learn from every, you know, like I've been climbing for 20 years, but I can go out with climbing for the first time and I will learn and be like, oh, this is what climbing is about. Like, I lost that because I'm just putting this pressure on myself to like perform. I have expectations. Maybe those expectations are, let's not say unrealistic, just like really hard to kind of lose that spirit of like, what am I doing now? And so to climb with someone feeling that for the first time, that for here, I want to like take that and keep it with me. That's just one of the things I love about climbing. It's like you can share it with folks at level.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of climbing and learning, who are your mentors, inspirations in the outdoors? I'm looking at the questions and I really want to know too. That's why I was like, oh, who do you look up to? Name drop. I want to hear it.
So in thinking about this, like, I feel like this is a little odd, but I exactly grow up with idols. I'm like one of those weird people who I don't think I'd be that excited to like see a celebrity walking down the street, because I just think we're all humans and we're all like all figure it out, and no one's cooler just because you're famous. And so I people around you who, you know, are pushing themselves through injuries or, you know, just own their body and are confident and not trying to like change their body to fit in. And those are the people that's what I'm like, that's what I want to take a little bit of apply, rather than like a poster of someone and I every evening and it inspires me every day and push myself. It's like those people are there every day, and maybe you don't know their name. Like, that's who I want.
I immediately got an image of Alex Puccio.
Puccio, yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first started climbing, going on Instagram and scrolling through, and her picture popped up. And I remember so many commenting about her body being too masculine, being too, like her muscles were too big and all of that. And I was like, damn, this girl's dope. It's like, she's like, oh, you think my muscles are big? I'm about to show them off again, you know? And I was like, oh, this is it. I love that. And I love that you said, you know, people that unashamedly just show up in their body and do the things that they love. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Puccio is obviously strong, and so, like, I think previously, you know, when climbing a younger sport, like description of who fit into climbing, it's like skinny white people. And now it's like at a lot of these competitors who are going to the Olympics, and they are so strong. Like that's the body type that we think of for climbing. But you don't want to have a weight to dress. No, you got to be strong. And I love that that's changing, because like little girls growing up see that, and we want them to have the right role models. You know, like you're an amazing model for young women who are getting into climbing or getting into outdoors, want to paddleboard and bike. And I remember something you posted a while back of you being out mountain. It was just, it kind of reminded me, I'm a mountain biker, but I just love like trying to be a beginner again. And I don't know, I think you had like backed up your knees or something. It's just like, yeah. Oh, that's that.
Yo, yeah, no, I was a little too confident. I tend to, like, when I try something new, I will say I love that like beginner thing, because I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till I find out like what gear I like, where I store, you know, my bag, or like when you start learning the language about that certain recreational sport, I was definitely like a little too confident. But yeah, I think that as we, you know, see this industry progress, I'm constantly having my own internal biases challenged by having people who I wouldn't traditionally associate with certain sports come out and be like, oh, watch me do it. So I think that's really, really freaking beautiful. I want to see way more. I want to see disabled climbers. I want to see, you know, brown climbers, plus size climbers, all of them. Shout out to all the plus size climbers out there. I follow you guys on the gram. Y'all badass.
Well, what do you share with aspiring female identifying climbers? Like, if you're trying to get into the sport, if you've been in the sport for a while, like, what advice do you have for folks?
Okay. There is like the tangible advice that I have, which is like, get yourself to a gym, right? Because for me, the gym allowed me a place to feel insecure and work through that, right? I could put on my headphones, go to the gym, not talk to anybody, like feel confident on the way that my body works, the way that my finger strength needed to grow, right?
Yes.
So that is like the very tangible advice of like, this is how you get into climbing. This is how I recommend getting into climbing, right? Get yourself to a gym, work through your insecurities, start talking to more people, start meeting more women who climb, say like, hey, can you blame me? but that's only speaking from my experience breaking back into like the climbing world. Because I will say I feel like climbing along with snow sports are some of the most intimidating sports to get into.
For sure.
Definitely the financial aspect of them, right? Like a rack is not freaking cheap. People take lifetimes to build those. Unless you're rich.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the gym provides an amazing catalyst for really figuring out if you want to pursue this past, just a gym or leisurely thing, which is totally cool. I mean, I'm a gym climber most of the time because I'm lazy.
Well,
I hate long approaches.
I mean, it's not even laziness. It's just there's like so different types and styles of climbing, and gym climbing is almost its own form of climbing. You don't even have to go outside. If like, the purpose of the gym isn't just to prepare you to go outside. It's like a sport in itself, and there's competitive climbers. But if you don't want to compete, like the gym, I have some of my most fun climbing in the gym, and I'm not ashamed of that. Like, yes, I love being outside, but the gym's like this controlled environment where you can kind of put yourself to without all of the other jumble of so I love that. I think
yeah, I'm gonna go back really quick to shout out Karima Batts at Her Hopeness on Instagram. She is awesome. She's the founder of Adapt Climbing, which is a climbing organization, a nonprofit based on the East Coast for climbers with disabilities. So check her out. Yeah. Okay, sorry, quick little side note there.
good one.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, what can men do to help create a more equitable climbing and outdoor recreation community?
Yes. I think the biggest thing to do is don't make something like that a woman you see at the cliff isn't capable of leading a route or figuring out her own or giving data. Like, don't assume that you're better climbers. Because you might very well be incorrect. Don't assume, and like a lot applies across the board too. Like, don't assume that someone wants to hear. Just ask first. Be like, hey, like, are you interested in hearing another like possible way that rather than just shouting it out. I think that same advice goes for women as you're getting into the sport or are all. Don't make assumptions about you. Don't assume that that's too hard or that you're not capable of that or like assume that you are capable. And climbing's one of those sports that like as long as you've ticked the safety boxes, like test yourself, try something that's too hard. The worst thing that happens is you lower down, like you don't have to finish something to be able to play on it. My whole day on the wall, like I'm eating at something. The type of climbing I love is problem. So you like take a route that's super hard for you, you'll totally might never do, and you throw yourself at it, just like work out by piece, and maybe progress is, today I slapped that yesterday I didn't even make movement towards. And I love like the bits of progress. So anyway, I strayed pretty far from the original topic. Don't make assumptions. Like, don't assume that someone is less capable of you or neither. And as a woman, don't assume that, things are going to be too hard or, this is powerful or the bolts are too hard. There's too many people at the craft. Also, a lot of people all feel. I've been coming for 20 years and still get intimidated all the time. There's a bunch of people at the craft intimidate. Or if super run out, or if the bolts are scary, like all of those things we all the time. And you're kind of learning to like manage them and make them more like become more years and be like, this is familiar. I all the time. Like, I can work through this. This is my process. The things I can do to help me feel more fine. And like, I can work through this.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with all of that. I definitely still get insecure when I'm trying something new.
Yeah.
Usually I like try to go somewhere a little slower, where there's like less people, because yeah, like as much as I feel like myself, I think it's a lifelong journey to try to quiet down those voices that say like, oh, you shouldn't be here, or oh, look at that guy, he's climbing really hard, he's gonna think that you're not. Um, and I want to add on to that and say that I think the way that men, and really anybody in the industry that holds power, to be able to enact change, I think the best advice that I can give is listening and knowing that it's not about you. At the end of the day, I feel like whenever I find myself getting hurt or feeling attacked, I have to remind myself that it's not about me. This vision that we have for a more inclusive outdoor space, it's bigger than all of us. It's bigger, it's bigger than Eddie Bauer, it's bigger than the Outbound. It's gonna take all of us. And I think men right now, men and men identifying people, the best thing that I can ask for is just asking them to hear us out and to provide support with whatever capital you have, whether that's financial capital, time, that's another form of capital, resources, networking. Reach out to the women in your life and see how you can best use your privilege as a male existing in a society that oftentimes does prefer males. Right, and oftentimes as well, it's in the very low key type of non overtly ways, right? And so I know a lot of men that I've talked to have said like, oh, you know what, I see women outside all the time, and like, yeah, but compared to yeah, of course, like women recreate. That in itself is not a surprising thing. But I think it's like looking at it deeper than that and really becoming educated on the things that you don't see, right? Because that's what privilege in itself is. It's all the things that we've never had to think about, all the things that we've never had to worry about or even notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see.
I think
what
really good questions that, over the last few days, and I wanted to ask you a few of those.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What advice do you have for your younger self?
Oh my gosh.
Like, what would you tell yourself when you started climbing, or just like becoming a bigger part of the outdoor, or starting Nature Chola?
Yeah, baby Chola. What would I tell her? I'd be like, damn, strap in. You're in for a wild ride. No, I was thinking about this question actually this morning when we were looking at the sheet of questions that people sent in. And to tell you the truth, I almost blanked on like, I'm like, do I have some sort of like quote that I can say? Do I have some like really inspiring thing that people can take away? And I think back to the kid that I was, right? I think back to 20 years ago, 8-year-old me. And to tell you the truth, I was a pretty sad kid, right? Like growing up in poverty makes you feel like there's no hope for your future. It makes you believe that you were put on this world to exist in a box. And that box for me was following in my parents' trajectory. I'm an immigrant. The best job that I can get is, maybe a teacher. And teachers are amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
From someone that worked in education. So as like I thought about all of that, I was like, what would I tell myself? And I think it's so not inspiring, but I would tell myself to hold on, because there are so many good things coming, and I am forming part of the world that I want to see one day. And if I lost hope, Nature Chola wouldn't be a thing. If I had decided to believe the boxes that I was destined to exist in, then I wouldn't be here right now. And I don't know.
That is inspiring. You're like, this is so not inspiring, but that's
it's not, because I'm like, yo, hold on, because big days are coming. Theo Eddie gonna sponsor you.
I just think so many people need to hear is like, hold on, it's gonna be a lot of time, but like, there's things coming, you know? And like, I love it. Thanks.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a social media influencer or a professional climber to benefit from these things, right? Like,
no, and like to make community, you know?
Yeah, and you don't have to be a social media influencer or a professional climber to make a change, right?
Oh.
We keep going back every time you get out and get on the trail. That's important.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
okay, I'm going to ask you a question from the Instagram questions. Oh no, I lost them. I lied. I thought I have the other sheet up. I'm asking you, are you on Clubhouse? And if so, what has been your favorite conversation so far? You need an invite? I got an invite for Clubhouse.
Not on Clubhouse. Send me an invite. And next time I'm going to have a better answer.
Awesome. I am on Clubhouse. I'm not very familiar with it. I know it's kind of like Instagram Live, as in like you kind of put it on the background, you listen to people talk. But I'm going to send you an invite because I don't necessarily have a favorite conversation. I do want to join a couple of the indigenous groups because I think there's a lot of good conversations going on there. There's also like women's outdoor, I think it's like snow sports groups started by Coalition Snow, right? Okay. They're super cool. They shred the patriarchy, you know, because snow shred. Okay.
I think that's one of the really cool things about, you know, I haven't used Clubhouse, but Clubhouse and social media is that you're able to connect with folks from within the community that you wouldn't be able to find it, right? Because it's a big world out there. But it like connects people, and you can find people who you identify with and be like, there are other people out there, whether they're I identify with a specific way. And you just feel that unity, and it kind of gives you like that push to keep going out there.
Yeah, and to explore and try new things. I was talking to my partner the other day because he doesn't have social media at all. He's like very off the map. And I was telling him how not only has social media changed my life, like for the obvious reasons of like, what up, Theo Eddie, we sponsored, but mostly I think it's such a freaking powerful tool, especially for communities of color. It's the first time that you get to decide the narrative that you want to live, put out there, right? There's so much autonomy over the way that you are putting out your content. And historically, communities of color and disenfranchised communities and poor communities haven't had that power, right? To say, you know what, I'm gonna post this picture because I think I look good, right? We've been subjected to the way the media looks at us and the way that the dominant society looks at us, whether you know you're poor or living in a rural area or whoever you are, right? I think I absolutely agree with you. I love social media for that because you're able to find your people. It's the first time that we get to decide, hey, you know what? In my community, I want this person and this person. I don't really want that person. And that's okay, right? There's nobody that's shoving it down your throat being like, no, but you're my neighbor. You can't move away.
Right. I love your power. Your platform is so different from everyone else's. Like, you put so much heart into your posts and your content, like all of your content, and I just love it. It stands out, and you've just found like a really creative your voice and word. That's so important, and I think that's you're setting an example for so many people, and you're to follow. So
thanks, Paige. Like, honest, that means so much to me. I think I get scared a lot of the time because I'm taking everything that's in my brain and trying to make sense of it by putting it into the abyss that is Instagram. And there is definitely people who don't have the same views, which is totally cool. I recognize I am definitely a little extreme for a lot of people, and that's okay, right? There are other people who are not as extreme and who still have great messages to say. And I don't know, I love social media, and unashamedly, like, Instagram changed my life, and I love being here. I love being here with you. I love being here with, all the people that are watching. I think that we don't talk about the importance and power of social media, right? We talk about how, like, it's like, it's toxic, it's this, and yeah, critiques are valid. They totally are. But also, let's look at the way that social media has changed the way that we spread news, the way that disenfranchised communities have been able to get their voices across. I think for those reasons, it's beautiful. And if you're using it in that way, then, I mean,
yeah,
positive.
Well, we're also going to spread a little love. We are almost out of time. I think we have a few away.
Oh my God, we have 2 minutes. We totally just went.
I know. But we have some really cool kits for you all. We've chosen some of our favorite packs, tents, blankets, gear that you need to get outside, be comfy, have an awesome time. So I don't know. We can choose. I think
we should do something fun. Like,
yes.
We're going to ask y'all to write into a little comment thing where you're listening from. And Paige and I have both created a little, my favorite Eddie Bauer, Theo Eddie gear kit. And we're going to be picking, we're each going to be picking one person from the comments. So comment where you are watching from, and then we'll send you a little DM letting you know that you won.
Yay!
But yeah, I just realized that we flew through that hour.
I kind of felt like I've been really looking forward to the competition, and I was like, this is going to go really fast. Not going to get to everything we want. Do a follow-up. But I think to everyone joining, just thanks so much for tuning in and hearing us out and listening to our chatter, and hopefully you have something you can take away and apply to your world. And also, like, reach out anytime. I can speak for both of us. We're available for questions. Like, come if there's something you're intimidated about, have a question about gear or like sword or whatever. Come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Paige, for making sure that we acknowledge everybody that's joining us. Because that support, honestly, as people, who live most of their lives online, I think that support is invaluable. And thank you for listening to us. I hope you all had fun. Shout out to the Outbound for letting us take over their platform. Shout out to Theo Eddie for supporting us. We love you, Sugar Daddy.
And all of this has been recorded. It's going to be posted on Eddie Bauer and the Outbound. So if you're only able to take part or you want to friends, like, it's going to be available. You can listen to this all over again. And
I'm scared for that, but yeah, we're gonna save it. I'm not gonna watch it back. I cringe at my own voice.
You don't watch your own voice.
Oh, Santa Maria by the Panera soccer field. What up? Santa is my hometown. Sorry, just have to give a shout out to Santa. All the Santa folks watching. What up?
Nice.
Your girl bougie now. No.
Do the comments get saved, or should we?
Oh, I have no idea. Can we ask somebody
I think it's
if
live out.
will they go away?
I don't know. I'm scrolling up randomly.
What up, Maddie? Okay, I am.
Here we go. Jen dot Caudill. I shouldn't have even attempted to pronounce someone's name over the interwebs. But I'm gonna write down the handle.
Me too.
You a tip, Jen. Jen from Petaluma, California.
I am looking. Oh,
we've got some good ones.
yeah, let's see. I'm looking at, I just really like this Texas name. Waxahachie, Texas. Fallid for life. Is that I don't know, English was my second language, fam. Half of these words I'm like.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. We had a great time. As Paige said, reach out to her, reach out to me. Follow us both on the gram. Follow the Outbound. Thank you so much, the Outbound.
Yeah.
Thank you, Theo Eddie. And thank you all for joining us.
Yes. Lots of love.
Okay, bye, everyone.
See you guys.
Spell it, please. Oops.
All
right, let me screenshot this. All right, smile page, screenshotting. Okay. All right, bye, everyone.
See you guys.